The Yankees made a huge splash this past weekend, grabbing the attention of the entire baseball world with an offensive explosion that resulted in an astounding 36 runs. It wasn't just the runs themselves that got people talking. It was the way they were achieved. Some even called it a new offensive strategy, with a tool that has been dubbed the torpedo bat. For those who may not be familiar, these bats have quickly become a topic of controversy, with accusations flying that the Yankees may be using something that could be considered illegal or even cheating. But here's the thing. If these bats were truly crossing any lines, they wouldn't have been approved by the league in the first place. It's as simple as that. No one would have been able to get away with it if they were breaking the rules. And in this case, the Yankees weren't hiding anything, nor were they being sneaky in their use of these bats. Players like Anthony Volpe, Jazz Chisholm, and Cody Bellinger were all seen using these so-called torpedo bats over the weekend, and each of them had their fair share of success. But perhaps the most interesting part of the whole situation came when a player who didn't use the torpedo bat still managed to have an incredible weekend, hitting 4 home runs in a single game. This just goes to show that the talent of the player can still shine through, even if they aren't using the latest piece of equipment that's causing a stir. So while Volpe, Chisholm, and Bellinger were certainly getting their share of attention with the torpedo bats, this other player, who made history with his 4 home runs, proved that skill and ability will always play a big part in a player's success. The controversy didn't stop there, though. The fact that a team, which isn't even the Yankees, has already put in a request for these torpedo bats really opened up a whole new level of scrutiny. Other teams in the league are clearly aware of the potential advantages these bats provide, and it didn't take long for them to start wanting in on the action. That being said, it's important to note that this isn't some sort of copycat scenario. Just because the Yankees are using these bats doesn't mean that other teams are suddenly jumping on the bandwagon. Some players, like Jeffers, already had these bats before the Yankees started their big offensive surge, and even Bellinger had been using one of these bats back in the previous season. This suggests that the concept of using these bats isn't exactly a new trend exclusive to the Yankees, even though they're currently the team getting the most attention for it. This whole situation really brings up some interesting points about the nature of the game and how new technologies or strategies are accepted within the world of professional baseball. The Yankees, being one of the most iconic teams in the sport, are always under a microscope. Their every move is analyzed and critiqued, and when they do something out of the ordinary, like using these bats, people tend to jump to conclusions about their legitimacy. Critics have been quick to accuse the Yankees of doing something illegal or shady, but the fact of the matter is that the league has already approved these bats. It's not like they're sneaking them into the game onto the table. In the end, the Yankees' use of the torpedo bat has sparked an important conversation about what's acceptable and what isn't in baseball. While some may argue that the use of such equipment gives certain players an unfair advantage, the truth is that these bats are fully legal and have been endorsed by the league. The question, then, isn't whether the bats are legal or not. The question is whether or not they'll truly revolutionize the game. Will other teams adopt the use of these bats as quickly as the Yankees have? Given the success the Yankees have already had, it seems inevitable that other teams will start to follow suit. The influence of the Yankees, coupled with the success they've seen, is bound to push other teams to explore this option as well. Interestingly, looking back at the previous season, there was already a player on the team who used the torpedo bat and managed to hit several home runs with it. In fact, a podcast that I listened to mentioned that 9 out of the 15 home runs that player hit were with the torpedo bat in hand. That's a significant portion of his home run total, and it just goes to show how effective this new technology can be when used by the right player. One of the key players behind the development of these bats even worked with the Yankees during their 2018 to 2024 seasons before moving on to a different team. This suggests that the use of the torpedo bat isn't a flash-in-the-pan idea that just happened to catch on overnight. These bats have been in development for years, and now that they're becoming more widespread, it's clear that they could become a common part of the game moving forward. However, not every player is going to see the same kind of success with these bats. It's important to note that using a torpedo bat isn't some magic solution to a player's struggles. It's not a guaranteed way to turn around a poor season or to suddenly hit home runs with ease. Some players, even with the torpedo bat in hand, are still struggling at the plate. For example, one player has managed just 3 hits in 12 at-bats so far this season, with an OPS of only .558. That's not exactly the kind of performance that one would expect from someone using a high-tech bat, and it just goes to show that these bats won't work wonders for everyone. Another player, with a batting average of .200, has had slightly better results, but again, the torpedo bat isn't some all-encompassing fix for a player's struggles. It's just an additional tool that can help boost performance in some cases, but it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. That's something that critics seem to overlook when they argue that the Yankees are doing something illegal. The fact is, these bats are legal, and they are a legitimate tool that players can use to enhance their performance. Just because they're new and innovative doesn't mean they're automatically cheating. But there's always going to be a certain level of resistance when something new is introduced into the game, especially when it's a team like the Yankees that's at the forefront of this new wave. Critics need to take a step back and recognize that, in this case, the use of the torpedo bat isn't breaking any rules. It's simply an example of how technology and innovation are evolving within the sport of baseball. Ultimately, it's fascinating to watch how this new trend unfolds and how other teams will eventually adopt this technology. The Yankees have already demonstrated the effectiveness of the torpedo bat, and it's only a matter of time before other teams start incorporating it into their strategies. It's also important to keep in mind that even though these bats may give certain players a slight edge, it's still the talent and hard work of the players that make the biggest difference. The use of these bats may provide a boost, but it's the player's skill that will ultimately determine their success on the field. It's been a wild start to the season for the Yankees, and there's no denying that all eyes are on them right now. But while some people are still caught up in debates over the legitimacy of the torpedo bat, others are simply in awe of the incredible performances they've witnessed. One of the standout stars of the weekend was Aaron Judge, who was nearly unstoppable at the plate. He blasted 3 home runs in a single game, coming close to adding a 4th in his final at-bat. Judge has always been a force to be reckoned with, but this level of performance so early in the season has left fans wondering just how high he can soar. In fact, there was a moment during his at-bat against Jake Bauers where Judge was so close to hitting his 4th home run that it seemed almost inevitable. The pitch from Bauers was a measly 55 miles per hour, almost like a batting practice pitch, and Judge took a swing at it. However, he missed the sweet spot just enough to send the ball to the warning track instead of over the fence. It was a rare miss for Judge, but it didn't take away from what had already been an incredible game. He's a player who can dominate in any situation, and his ability to hit home runs with such consistency makes him one of the most dangerous hitters in the game today. The fact that Aaron Judge has already hit 4 home runs before April is nothing short of remarkable. Last year, he had just 4 home runs in the entire month of April. So to reach that number before the calendar even turns over is impressive. It's clear that Judge is picking up where he left off last season, and if he can stay healthy throughout the year, he could easily challenge his own record for home runs in a season. Of course, hitting at the pace he's been going isn't sustainable, and it's unrealistic to expect him to maintain a slugging percentage of over .545 for the entire season. But even if his numbers do come back to earth a bit, there's no question that Judge is poised for another fantastic season. When it comes to his overall game, it's hard to find any flaws in Judge's approach. He's not just a home run hitter. He's a complete offensive force. His OPS in 2022 was well over 1.000, and he's already flirting with similar numbers this season. If Judge keeps up his current pace, it wouldn't be surprising to see him hit 50 or even 60 home runs by the end of the season. He's that good. And when you look at his overall offensive ability, it's hard to argue that he's not one of the best players in baseball. In fact, many would argue that he's the best. There are other players out there, like Shohei Ohtani, who are incredibly talented and put up jaw-dropping numbers of their own, but Judge's ability to consistently hit for both average and power sets him apart. Shohei Ohtani is a player who continues to amaze fans year after year. He's one of the most unique talents in the history of baseball, and there's no denying his greatness. Last season, Ohtani hit over .300 and managed to hit 50 home runs, a remarkable feat that few players in the game can match. But when it comes to sheer offensive ability, Aaron Judge still holds the edge. He's the only player in the game who can hit .300 and knock 60 home runs in a season. That kind of combination is something truly special, and it's why many consider him to be the best hitter in baseball today. Judge's ability to produce at such a high level year after year is truly remarkable. Over the course of his career, he's posted an OPS above 1.000 multiple times, and that's something very few players have been able to do. In 2017, his rookie year, Judge posted an OPS of over 1.000, which is almost unheard of for a first-year player. Now, in 2024, he's on track to do it again, making this the 5th time in his career he could post an OPS above 1.000. That's an achievement that puts him in rare company, and it's a testament to his consistency and ability to perform at the highest level year after year. One of the things that makes Judge so impressive is his ability to remain healthy. Injuries are always a concern for any player, but especially for someone with Judge's power and size. He's had his fair share of injuries over the years, but when he's healthy, there are few players in the league who can do what he does. His 2022 season, in which he broke the American League home run record, was a perfect example of what happens when Judge is firing on all cylinders. And if he can stay healthy this year, there's no telling what he could achieve. The sky's the limit for Aaron Judge, and as long as he remains in the lineup, the Yankees are going to be a dangerous team to face. However, it's not just about the individual performance of players like Judge. The Yankees have been playing some incredible team baseball, and their success is a result of a combination of factors. The team has been hitting the ball well, playing solid defense, and getting great pitching. The addition of new players and the development of young talent has injected new life into the squad, and it's clear that the Yankees are looking like a legitimate contender for the championship this year. If they can keep up this level of play, there's no reason why they can't go all the way. That said, not everyone is on board with the way the Yankees are operating. There's still a significant amount of criticism surrounding their use of the torpedo bats, and it's something that continues to stir up debate. But what's often overlooked in these discussions is the fact that the bats are legal and have been approved by the league. It's frustrating to see so many people focus on the negative aspects of the situation when, in reality, the Yankees are just taking advantage of a tool that is available to all players. Instead of criticizing the Yankees, perhaps it's time for people to focus on the incredible performances they've been putting up and appreciate the game for what it is. As for the future, it's clear that the Yankees' success with the torpedo bat is just the beginning. Other teams are already starting to take notice, and it won't be long before we see more players and teams experimenting with these bats. Whether or not they have the same success as the Yankees remains to be seen, but one thing is for sure. Baseball is changing, and it's exciting to watch. The torpedo bat is just one example of how technology is making its way into the sport, and it will be interesting to see how it evolves in the coming years. Whatever happens, though, it's clear that the Yankees are setting the standard right now, and other teams will have to step up their game if they want to keep up. But before we continue, please remember to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support allows us to keep bringing you the latest news about the New York Yankees. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments. In a surprising twist, whispers have emerged that Will Warren, the New York Yankees' young pitcher, may have publicly criticized his manager, Aaron Boone. The rumor has sent shockwaves through the Yankee faithful and left fans wondering whether the relationship between the two is as solid as it once seemed. Could this controversy be the beginning of an unraveling for the 2024 season? Or is this just another misinterpreted remark in the world of high-stakes baseball? Warren, who made his MLB debut with the Yankees in July 2024 after struggling at Scranton/Wilkes-Barre, was expected to provide a spark to a team in desperate need of a pitching boost. However, his performances, marked by a concerning 10.32 ERA in the majors, have yet to meet the high expectations placed on him. It's in this challenging environment that rumors of tension with Boone have emerged, leading to speculation about what might be simmering behind closed doors. Reports suggest that during a recent conversation, Warren might have voiced frustrations regarding Boone's management style and the way certain decisions were being made. The Yankees manager, whose tenure has been marked by a blend of success and criticism, has never been shy about pushing his team to the limit. However, the added pressure of expectations could be creating cracks in what was once thought to be a strong, unified clubhouse. The relationship between player and coach is vital, especially for a team like the Yankees, where every game matters and scrutiny is relentless. Boone, known for his calm demeanor in the face of adversity, may now find himself having to address not just the team's struggles on the field, but also the growing concerns about internal dynamics. For Warren, a rookie with something to prove, his frustrations might be understandable. Yet, in a season filled with turbulence, throwing public shade at the manager could be a risky move. As the rumor mill continues to churn, Yankees fans are left to wonder, was this just a fleeting moment of discontent, or does it signal a deeper rift between one of the team's promising young arms and their seasoned manager? Only time will tell, but one thing is for sure. The drama in the Bronx is far from over. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the New York Yankees, please subscribe to our channel and give us a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.